In our previous video, we discussed the question of, are you ready to buy a home? And I mentioned a couple of important points in determining your monthly payment that you could afford, right? So I mentioned the 28% rule, the 36% rule. Go check out that video if that does not ring a bell. Now, I want to kind of double click on that idea. In this video, especially, I want to cover what actually goes into the cost of acquiring a home, both from a monthly payment standpoint and from an initial purchase standpoint to determine how much home can you afford. So here's the thing, if you have only ever rented, there are probably some terms and terminology associated with a monthly mortgage payment that are going to be new to you. So let's cover those now. So first and foremost, when you're paying your monthly mortgage payment, there's going to be the cost of the loan, right? And so common components of that are your principal payment, your interest payment, right? So that's the two components of your monthly costs that are fixed over the life of the loan. But that's not all is in there. If you're below a certain amount of equity in that home, you're also going to have what's called an escrow account. Okay, so this is kind of a separate account, typically administered by your lender, into which on a monthly basis, you also pay a portion of your homeowner's taxes and your homeowner's insurance. So you make sure your real estate taxes are covered and your homeowner's insurance premium is covered on a monthly basis. And then your lender then would distribute from your escrow account to make those payments on an annual basis. So you got principal, interest, taxes, insurance, but that's not all, right? So if you're below typically the 20% mark in equity in your home, you're also going to have what's called private mortgage insurance. So this is actually another form of insurance associated with your payment that ensures if you default on the loan, it makes sure the lender is kept whole. So you've got all these categories: principal, interest, taxes, insurance. You've got PMI possibly, and you may have an HOA. You may have a homeowners association, a separate payment as part of the neighborhood you live in. Now, here's the good news. Anymore online, you can go and find a number of calculators that will help you estimate what all of these categories would total up to each month. And that's the figure that you would take for any particular property you're considering purchasing. You'd take that figure and test it against the 28% and the 36% rules. Let's take you there, right? Let's say you found a number of properties that would be appropriate for your situation. You've added up the different components of the monthly payment, and that works for you financially. So then let's go to the actual purchase itself. What are the costs associated with acquiring a home? So if you can handle the monthly payment here on out, that's great. But you also have to be prepared financially for the actual acquisition of the property. So let's do a deep dive on that. Let's begin with the down payment. So the down payment is that initial chunk of money that you pay out of pocket to purchase the home. There's kind of this sliding scale of, there's the purchase price on the home, there's the down payment you pay initially, and the remaining amount is the amount that would be financed as part of your mortgage, which of course would dictate the principal and interest payment that you have on a monthly basis there on out. And so notice how you have an element of choice as far as how much of a down payment you put down. The more of a down payment you put down, obviously that's more cash out of your pocket at the outset, but that would mean a lower loan balance to start with, which would then therefore mean a lower principal and interest payment each month. So there's a trade-off. There's a pay me now, pay me later thing, right? If you have a chunk of money saved up and put more down, you have a lower payment, right? Or if you put lower down, obviously you're going to have a higher monthly payment. So as you're keeping in mind what that monthly payment would be and what is sustainable for you, according to kind of those general rules of 28%, 36%, there's an element of choice there in how much down payment you put down. Now, certain loan types, we have another video kind of covering the full buying process, but different lenders and different loan types have different requirements in terms of how much you must put down. Now, you may have heard this threshold commonly referred to of a 20% down payment. 20%. I gotta tell you, the way real estate prices have behaved here in recent years, the thought of saving up 20% before you ever purchase a home may seem daunting, okay? There's a reason 20% is still thrown around out there, although I gotta say, I think if you ask most realtors, I don't think first-time home buyers are putting down 20%, right? But the reason that's still a relevant threshold is that PMI, the mortgage insurance, typically drops off once you've paid at least 20% down on the cost of the home. You now can eliminate that as a monthly expense. So it's a commonly quoted threshold, but if you're not able to save up for the 20%, some people will preach you can't buy a home until you have 20%. Others, I think in reality, as far as what actually occurs, first-time home buyers, it's much less than that. You just want to be mindful of how much you're putting down, how much you're required to put down for the loan. Should you put down more when you're saving up and planning for your down payment? Okay, so you saved up for your down payment. You're clear on you can afford your monthly payment moving forward. Now, here's what gets most people. The down payment is not the only cash that you need to close on your first home, okay? Let me just read through. So I pulled up the actual closing disclosure on my home back when we purchased it. Let me just read through the different categories of the fine print, the nickel and dime on that closing document. So just hear all the different categories of costs that you need to be prepared for. Administration fee, processing fee, appraisal fee, credit report fee, title, various title fees there, recording fees, prepaid interest, mortgage insurance premium, homeowners insurance premium. The list goes on. Total closing costs. So here's this question of something you need to be aware of. In addition to the down payment, there are a number of other fees associated with closing and purchasing your first home. Some of those fees are out of pocket. You need to have that cash saved up. Some of them are rolled into the loan itself. Some of those are covered by the buyer. Some of those are covered by the seller, right? But the point is don't go into this thing just thinking all I have to have is my down payment, I'm good. You need to be prepared for other costs. And that's going to vary by region. It's going to be vary by home and transaction and lender and all that. But I think a safe range is somewhere between an additional 3% to 5% of the purchase price. You need to have earmarked just cash to close. Now, talk to your lender, talk to your realtor for specifics on that, but just as a ballpark, you need to plan to have that saved up in addition to your down payment. Okay, so how are we feeling about the home buying process? If you listen to all of that and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, you're in good company. I'm sure most first-time home buyers would tell you the same thing. Here's the deal. People buy houses all the time. First-time home buyers come through and they get it done all the time. So it happens. It's a thing, right? If you've covered your bases, otherwise that we mentioned in our other videos, and you're ready, then you're ready, okay? But here's the thing. You want to make sure you have a good team in place. A good lender, a good realtor, a financial advisor you can consult with to help you navigate all of these things. Just like any other field, it's just like medicine, law, any other field, there are experts who can help you get to the right answers. So I would encourage you to reach out and put your team together. We have a separate video on the buying process itself, what to expect kind of along that timeline, what different roles come into the picture at different times. So check that out. It'll help you clarify what that looks like for you.